Hello everybody. I guess I feel a little better than last time. It's like 70 degrees in my house right now, and normally that's really hot for me. Usually I get really hot when it's in the 70s, but I'm like freezing cold. Like I had to like take out my like heater and have it pointed at me because I was so cold. It doesn't make sense because like my house, my thermostat says it's like maybe around 72 degrees in here, so I'm really shouldn't be that cold, but whatever. Anyways, I guess, oh, I'm doing this video because I had a very interesting dream, and my dreams always tend to happen. Has there ever been a situation where my dream didn't come true? My dreams always happen. So I thought I would share. Maybe I'll do a reading, but I'm still feeling a little sick. Sorry, I just ate something. I had a dream that I was in a spirit in the hospital looking at people from the ceiling. And it was crowded with sick people. Those sick people. They were lying in these hospital beds. And the nurses and physicians were feeling overworked. Let's see. And then I was looking at the patients lying in the bed, and I could see flies flying around their face or sitting on their face. I'm not saying it was unsanitary, that the flies around someone's face like that is a symbol of that death is upon them. That's a sign of death. So in my dreams, I often am like I'm the angel of death. So, I don't know. Am I the angel of death? I'm the angel of death. So, you know, I often. So when someone dies, usually I'm there to witness it. Has there ever been a death that I haven't been witness to? I've been a witness to every type of death because my spirit was there. And so I guess from the dream standpoint point of view, I was there to collect their souls. Sometimes in the dreams, how people don't see me is I can be like a spider on the wall or something. I guess I might use deceptive ways to calm people down. I've been having these dreams for all. This is how I know people are sick, by the way. Like I had a dream, there was this little boy in his bed, and I was a spider climbing on his wall. It was late at night, and then I shapeshifted. I stepped off the wall and I shapeshifted into like this tall hooded figure. And then I walked up, and then I walked around his room for a bit, and I looked out the window and I looked at his toys. And then I walked to him in his bed, and he was dead already. But you know, what's death anyways? You know, when you die, your consciousness is still alive, so you don't really die, just your body dies, you know. And so I walked up to him in his bed because he was just lying there, and then I disguised my voice to sound like his mother. And I told him, it's time to come. It's time to go. And then I talked to him for a little bit. And this portal opened up beside us, and we walked through it. It's just what happens. You know, it happens too. It's been going on for all summer. It's been happening a lot more than usual. This is how I know This is how I know when people are lying about the COVID and the other things. I know the government's everybody as the angel of death, whether you believe me or not. I know the government's lying Because I'm the only entity in the cosmos whose job it is to collect people's souls and take it to the afterlife. And I've been taking people's souls to the afterlife, and it's been very crowded. All right, I've been going, like, people have been dying in their beds. A lot of them are not dying in the hospital. They're dying in their beds. They're dying outside. If they're homeless or they're a prostitute, they've been dying outside. If they're like, some of them are dying in their bedrooms. And so then they're all ages, old, young, and stuff. So anyways, I was looking at the people in the hospital bed, and then I heard one of them. I went over the body of her eyes were closed, and she had flies all over her face. I was like, oh, it's almost time for her to go. And then I hoovered over her, and then she was gone. And then the nurses started freaking out, and they were like, this is supposed to be the non-fatal version. And then there were some others in the hospitals I had to collect. And I was walking around the hospital, people couldn't see me, and there were flies everywhere because there was death everywhere, because people are dying from these illnesses that the government's not reporting. I guess they're having the UFC at the White House lawn now or something, and the stuff with Charlie Kirk and the Epstein thing. It's really distracting people to what's going on, and I've been wondering what's been going on with the morticians. Why haven't they said anything? I don't know. I don't know if they're getting paid off by the government to not say anything, because I guess they remembered last time during COVID, it was the morticians who started going out in the public and complaining, and they don't seem to be doing that right now, but I'm pretty sure they're overloaded, but they're not saying anything. Maybe they're just too busy. I don't know what's going on. Or some of the deaths might look like it's suicide or it might look like something else. I don't know. So I was walking around the hospital. It was in disrepair. The physicians and nurses looked so tired. It was too many people in the hospital. And so I walked outside, and this is what the hospitals are starting to do. I don't know. Let's see. Have they started doing this already? They started doing this already. If you work in a hospital, maybe you know about it, okay? Apparently, the hospital is discharging patients so that they can admit the patients with the illnesses, I guess with COVID or whatever the hell, people are dying from measles, I don't know. They're discharging other patients. It's gotten so bad at some hospitals, let me tell you, it's gotten so bad that they're discharging patients in the mental health ward. That's how bad the situation is in some of these hospitals. It's gotten so bad they're discharging patients from the mental health ward. And if they're discharging patients from the mental health ward, that means they don't have enough room at the hospital. But it's not being reported. I think, you know what, everybody? I think the sign that the physicians and nurses were overloaded was when they all came together and started attacking RFK Jr. I think some people are so, disillusioned with the pharmaceutical and medical device and the industry, the medical industry, that when these physicians and nurses and medical doctors or, professors who work in medicine all came together, maybe they signed a document, maybe they're starting to publish stuff online, they're publicly complaining about RFK Jr., how he's responsible for a lot of stuff. I think people were just they're just upset about money and stuff. I think what's really going on right now is because he's turned off a lot of the notifications and the health notifications. There's been a disconnect between communications. There's been a pause in the updates and statistical data. They're not really, you know, you can't really trust the data that is coming out because he's not a medical doctor. He's not a trained epidemiologist. He's not a biostatistician. He has no experience in public health. He's a fucking lawyer. And he's not even a public health lawyer. He's just, you know, and he got the position because of his surname. And he's been replacing, you know, people with a bunch of conspiracy theorists who are not rooted in reality or scientific theory. And so, then, you know, these people are worried about being censored, so they decided to attack him instead publicly and ask for him to resign. And I want people to use their brains. The reason why they're asking RFK Jr. to resign is because they're noticing an uptick in extremely ill people in the hospital. They're overloaded. There's too many patients. A lot of the staff is quitting. A lot of the regulations and, you know, pushed on, you know, medical doctors and medical personnel, it has really put a strain on people. You know, a lot of people who might have gone in medical school is too expensive, so there's not enough med students. And it's things are too expensive. The cost of living is too expensive. So I don't know if the cost of living is affecting med students from doing their residencies. Maybe they've been putting off, you know, because if they're not getting, you know, the right amount of money, it might be too expensive for a lot of them to finish their residencies. So some of them might be delaying it. And, you know, a lot of them are not getting scholarships. The cost to go to university is just way too much. And it's really putting a strain on all the medical staff. So there's a huge shortage. And don't forget the shortage is, you know, was created by Congress in the first place with their stupid laws and regulations. I feel like university education should be free. And this is one of the reasons why, because there's a huge shortage of medical doctors and nurses right now. And the ones that we have might be getting mislabeled as conspiracy theorists because they keep trying to tell people that COVID might be a problem again. And they're trying to tell people that the pandemic never left. And, you know, people who are uneducated, they say, well, it's like the flu and the flu never leaves. Yeah, but it's not really. Coronavirus and the flu, they're not exactly the same thing. Okay, yes, the flu kills a lot of people, but the coronavirus, do you guys remember how many people died during the corona shutdown? And a lot of people are really sick right now. And I'm guessing a lot of them are going to start dropping like flies, because that's what I saw in my dream. They're dropping like flies. Literally saw flies on their faces. And so then, like, the nurses and doctors are so overworked and they're so tired. They're not getting enough funding because the healthcare system in the United States operates like a capitalist system. And so when you have a hospital operating like a capitalist system, if you don't perform in the capitalist way, your hospital gets defunded and you don't get all the equipment you need, and you don't have the proper protocols, you don't have the proper tools, you don't have the proper equipment, and the people are overworked, you know, because how well a hospital does is based on the capitalism, right? It's the capitalist model, and it's destroying people's health and people. And then the other thing is that people can't afford healthcare. They passed a big beautiful bill. I don't know when it comes into, when it's enacted or when it's active, but you know, seeing how this country runs, since it's so profit motivated, that some hospitals might be already be preparing for it to take effect if they haven't already. And so they might be laying off some nurses and doctors. And this is literally the worst time we want them to be laying off medical personnel, because, you know, there's COVID's going up, there's measles problem, and we have fucking RFK Jr. in the most in a position that he does not deserve to be in. When I found out that they picked him, I was so confused. I was like, of all the things that they could have put him in, I don't understand why that. I don't get it at all. If you want my opinion, I think maybe his father and his uncle might be ashamed of him, because he's just ruining the Kennedy name with some stupid bullshit, fake ass science. RFK Jr. is not JFK, and he's not RFK either. Do you know how he's not? Because the government's not trying to kill him. Number one, if he was actually good at his job, the government might try to, sack him, get him out of the way. But they're allowing him to do whatever the fuck he wants because he doesn't know what he's doing. And he's not a threat to the government at all. He's a threat to people's lives, but he's not a threat to the government because he can be bought with money. He's nothing like his uncle, and he's nothing like his father. I'm not trying to be mean. He's just not. I don't know. He told people what a worm ate part of his brain. I don't know. Why would you guys put someone in power whose brain apparently might have been eaten a little bit by a worm? Obviously, it means he's disabled. He's not working at full brain capacity. And so you really have to wonder about his decision making ability or capabilities. Because if a worm ate some of his brain, as he's claimed, I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what he told people, right? Then he's not operating at full capacity, and you will want someone operating at full capacity when they're running the government. And this is not to make fun of people with disabilities, because I have autism myself, but as an autistic person, I would really want someone who's in a high rank position to have full control of their brain power and be able to use it and exercise it properly, because you really have to question his decision-making ability. Like, what part of his brain was damaged? Because he obviously has brain damage, right? He has some brain damage. Do you guys really want someone who's in charge of health to have brain damage? It's not me. I don't think that's ableist. Listen, I have a bunch of disabilities too. Listen, I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I have epilepsy. You don't see me trying out to be the coach of the basketball team. That doesn't make any sense. From my point of view, what can I teach tools? If I was the coach of a female basketball team or a male, I don't know how it works. Like, what? I'm going to end up messing up sometimes. I can't even dribble the ball right. I'm going to keep, my joints are going to slide out. I won't be at optimal health. And I probably won't know what it's like to be at optimal health. And so when the students or, the basketball players come up to me and ask me for advice on how they can handle workouts, because, people go to their coach for advice, right? And can you imagine kids coming up to a coach who's sick? And they're trying to get advice from a sick coach when they're actually pretty healthy. And they're like, what should I do? It'll be different if the coach maybe was like, in the past, they were very healthy, they ran marathons, and then they just got sick because of a car accident. So they have they have a good idea of what it's like to be healthy and how to get into shape still. But if you've always listen, if you're like me, you've always been sick, or you have something like brain damage, why are you running a department in the government? There has to be a limit to the insanity. People are so afraid of being called ableist sometimes, when sometimes you're like, is it really though? I'm sorry. This is a serious question for people. Would you want your physician to have brain damage? If you found out that your physician and maybe your pediatrician for your child had some brain damage, what would you do? Would you pick another doctor? People just need to start being honest with themselves. Do you want your child's pediatrician to have brain damage? Would you feel okay with the judgments they make about your child's health? Will you be okay with the decisions they make about your health, or will you constantly go and seek a second opinion? I don't know. I feel like in the sake of tolerance in the most intolerant administration, sometimes we tend to lose sight of common sense. Anyways, I guess I was going to do a card reading, but I'm still feeling a little sick, so I guess I'm not going to do that. So people are really sick. They're in the hospital. The Trump administration's not doing it. This is the weirdest thing about the American government, why would you model your country? This is for the founding fathers. Why would you model your country off of a failed civilization? Does that make sense to anybody? Of all the things to do, you guys modeled your government at one of the civilizations that had one of the worst falls in human history, to the point that their buildings have been turned into rubble, and they were hated. They were a bunch of imperialists who terrorized people. This talk about, all the Nero and all these other people, right? They model the American government as what? Model off of a little bit off of Romans and the Greeks and like a bunch of failed civilizations. I guess they had an idealistic idea of what, and it's like they copy them almost to T. It almost makes you believe these people were probably the Romans who were the reason why Rome fell in the first place. It's like they reincarnated. And these Roman politicians reincarnated, and they came to America, and I have a great idea. Let's model this after Rome. And then God is like, we're really gonna do this one again? Didn't you guys learn the last time? Let's see, I don't know. Testing, 1, 2, 3. The founding fathers, were a lot of them reincarnated Roman politicians? Really? It really shows. I wonder how many of them are in Congress right now, just running things into the ground, right? Because now we have, you guys modeled your government off of Rome, a fallen civilization. Listen, if Rome was as great as you guys try to claim it wouldn't have fallen. China has been here for thousands of years, and it's still China. You know what I mean? So not only do you guys model your country after a fallen country, you then you guys re-elected the same Roman politicians from thousands of years ago who are the reason it fell in the first place. I can only imagine how many of them are sitting in Congress this very day. Let's see. Were some of the Romans who were around during the fall of Rome, what actually caused it, are some of them sitting in Congress right now? They're sitting in Congress right now! The same motherfuckers from the last time! And now look, we got the gladiator games back on. Oh my God, you know what? I know some people are like, this is the dumbest timeline. From my point of view, this is the best timeline. This is the funniest timeline. Because not only did you idiots reinstate the Roman Empire again, you guys did imperialism again. You did slavery again. You went across other countries and continents and conquered their lands again. You took territories that don't belong to you again. The people who you took over fucking hate you again. And then you elected the biggest moron to run the country. And then they stand up there acting all high and mighty. I guess some of them might have worshipped Dionysus maybe back then. Is that you call him? Maybe, well, you know what? Jesus is just another version of him. So that's why it's so easy for all of them to be Jesus freaks. Because listen, Jesus was based off of Dionysus, right? So it's the same thing. It's the same shit. Back and all, but that's why all of them engage in a bunch of sinful, wicked behavior, because that's what they did back then too. So it's like a reenactment, it's like God was like, how about this, guys? I'm going to give you guys another chance to see if you guys can maybe be different. This is a new country. You could, and they go out and do the same motherfucking thing. And now we got the gladiator games going on. The UFC, I'm sorry, this is the most ghetto thing I have ever seen in my life. You guys talk so much shit about other races of people, black, Arabs, brown people. And you guys have a wrestling match on the lawn of the White House. I saw the AI generated images. I thought what I was seeing was created by SNL or Mad TV. And I just started laughing. I'm like, this is exactly what the Romans did with the gladiator games. This is such bullshit. And of course, like the dumb idiots who were educated to be factory workers and not critical thinkers. Some of them are going to love it. Oh my God, this is so great. Oh my God. It's like a bunch of brain rot, huh? In the Roman times, it was because the grains were moldy and they weren't really doing really good things with the grains. So the grains was causing like some type of type of psychosis. So like during the Roman times, the grains and stuff started getting moldy and people were eating grains and it caused like a weird form of psychosis. Now the modern version of this is doom scrolling on your phone, having gut dysbiosis from poor diet. So it's still a poor diet problem, right? All the pharmaceutical drugs in like your food. It's the same fucking shit. And so the foreigners, like the other countries, are like watching America with their eyebrows raised. They're like, what the fuck are they doing now? That's like what people were thinking of with the Romans. What the hell is the gladiator games? What are these weirdos doing? And they were like, unbelievable. So people from afar went there to see, because they couldn't believe that the Roman society has fallen so much that they now have a fucking gladiator games. I don't know who's gonna participate. Is Ted Cruz gonna put on his little UFC little suit and be on the stage? That'll be so funny. You guys should do that. Make sure you film it so I can watch it and laugh. I'm not joking. I saw the photos of the stage and I started laughing. I'm like, I don't care what anybody says. This is the best timeline. Some people, this is the dumbest. No, this is the best because it's the funniest. This is full on psychosis going on in the United States. They're so fucking crazy that they don't even realize it. You can't even have a conversation with people anymore. They want to do a holiday for Charlie Kirk when they didn't do it for the kids from Sandy Hook or any of those other children, Columbine. No, fuck them, everybody. Fuck those 5-year-olds. But Charlie, you get one. I guess they might be doing it and then BB comes on. I had nothing to do with this. Okay, whatever. I don't even care about the Israeli involvement. They're going to do what they're going to do. It is what it is. From this point of view, look, didn't they just block something today? What day? It's Sunday. Right now it's Sunday. Didn't they just block something else from the UN? Like the amount of power these two countries have is ridiculous. So the Israelis know that the Americans are stupid. And they're just playing off the dumb Americans because they know they can easily be bought because they're a bunch of showmen. They're a bunch of show monkeys. The Israelis just got to wave a couple dollar bills in front of their faces and they're like, clap! They just start clapping. Wipe your ass on camera! And they'll do it on camera. Do it, headstand! And the Israelis throw money at them. Come on, do it! So shameful. Do you I'm not saying I support what Israel's doing in Gaza. I haven't said any comment about any of that because I don't want to. I haven't looked into it. I don't want to say anything about it. But it's like, it's so easy. From the Israeli point of view, they're just protecting their own special interests. They're putting their country first, and it makes sense, right? They're putting themselves first. And that makes sense. I'm looking at it from multiple point of views. I can see how it looks from multiple point of views. From the Israelis' point of view, they're protecting their own people. And they're protecting what they believe is their own country. After what happened to them, they have a history of being unwelcomed in different European nations, right? And being treated badly wherever they went. And they don't want to re-experience that again. They might have some insecurity. They might be worried that they'll be targeted again in whatever country because they're seeing it, again springing up in Europe, and they're seeing it in America. They see it everywhere they go. People just making fun of them, saying that they control everything, whether you agree with that or not. And so from the Israeli point of view, they want to put themselves first and protect their people. And so they are willing to do anything in order to do that. That's from the Israeli point of view. And if they got to spend a couple money to control the stupid Americans, because trust me, the Israelis think the Americans are stupid, then they're willing to do it. That's from the Israeli point of view, right? And from their point of view, it makes complete sense. I'm not justifying any atrocities they've done. And then from the Palestinian point of view, these people came out of nowhere and took over their land. They remember the Hebrews being black people or Arabs. Most of the original Hebrews were Arabs. Okay, let me see. Were the original Hebrews Arabs? The original Hebrews were Arabs, but some of them were also Africans because it's written nearby, okay? They remember these people being black and brown, and when they came back, all of a sudden they were white and they spoke Yiddish. And so that they know genetically that these people are from these people who came back from, Europe, who said that their people belong in Israel. They're from Eastern Europe, right? The white Ashkenazi Jews are Slavs. Their people came from Kiev, the Kiev region. So the Ashkenazi Jews, their ancestry is from the Ukrainian area. The Ashkenazi Jews, they are not from the original Israel, okay? They're a group of converts. So they're from Eastern Europe. They're from the Ukrainian area, the Kiev. Okay, they also have some beef with the Russians because the Russians didn't want them in their country a long time ago too, right? You remember I said the Ashkenazi Jews have been kicked out of, different countries, right? And the Ashkenazi Jews, what happened was they became converts to the Arab African spirituality of the original Hebrews. And that's the truth. I wish they would just admit it. There's no shame in just admitting that your people might be from converts. That I don't see what the problem is. I don't know why that's a problem today. But anyways, from the Palestinian view, these people came from nowhere. They don't know why they want to be there. They know from their point of view when the Jews left the land originally, some of them still stay there. They were brown and black. And now they look white and they don't know who these people are. And so they don't believe that they belong there because from their point of view, these are not the real I'm just explaining things from the other point of view. From their point of view, these people don't belong here. They're not the original ones. And so it's kind of like a racial fight a little bit. Right? And they're saying from their point of view, there have been Arab Jews have been living here for a long time. And we've been living okay with them. Where do you guys come from? So, And maybe it's a sensitive topic for them because if you point out that they're from converts, it hurts their feelings. I don't know why. The truth is the truth. There's something wrong with being a convert, right? Like, if they like the spirituality so much and it inspired their people, I don't know why it's bad to say that. Like, yes, our people were originally not a part of this spirituality, and then we liked we liked the spirituality. It touched our people, and we decided to convert. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. There's something wrong with that. Why is it bad to say that? And from my point of view, if they believe that, and if it touched them so much, then of course they should be able to call themselves Jews, because they would be, because they converted. So I don't know what the problem is. And then there's like these people, the black Hebrew people, who came out of nowhere. who's been attacking the white Jews too. And so there's some like hatred going on there. And the problem with the Black Hebrew group is they don't know what they're talking about a lot of the time. It's like the people who started the Black Hebrews group, a lot of them are like Black nationalists, hateful group of people. They don't even believe that the Arabs were originally the Hebrews either, which is weird. So the Black Hebrews, I'm not a fan of them either. They're very hateful. And it's so weird. Listen, God isn't a racist, okay? God loves everybody, whether you're Black, brown, or Asian. It doesn't matter. I think the original vision of the Creator was for the Hebrews to be a mixture of people. As long as the word inspires them, then it's good. It doesn't matter who is the originals, because most of the originals might not even be part of the Hebrew religion anymore anyways. And the original Hebrews worshipped Asherah. They did not worship Yahweh. You know, and a lot of the Black Hebrews, they talk about Jesus and stuff, and that wasn't in the scripture. That's some Roman nonsense. Like, either, I'm just going on a rant. I'll just do this about the hospital thing, but it's just my opinion, you know. It's so weird. Anyways, people are wondering, why are the Republicans, why is Trump so beholden to the Israelis? I can tell you why. They have a bunch of dirt on him, just like the Russians do. Listen, the Russian spies are absolutely amazing at what they do. They could be a fly on the wall. You don't know how the fly got in there. You could be like a tight, airtight room, and somehow a Russian's gonna find out what you talked about. They're just really good at spying. And I'm sorry to tell you guys who love Trump, Trump was a friend of Epstein. Trump had relations with someone, the youngest person he had relations with, you know, with sexual, was a 12-year-old, okay? 12-year-old, and that was when he, right? It was a 12-year-old, and it was when he was an adult, okay? The Russians, the reason why Trump says he loves Putin is because the Russians have a bunch of tapes and audios of him doing a bunch of illegal stuff, okay? And so he's kind of scared of Putin. Trump is scared of Putin because he knows that the Russians will release whatever they have on him. They got a lot of shit. Trust me. You know why? Because the Russians know that he's into Slavic women, right? He's into Slavic looking women, right? He has a type, and it seems to be a bit Slavic or Eastern European. The Russians have tons of Eastern European, former USSR women that they could send to Trump, right? So there we go. They know what he likes. They have a bunch of recordings of him, and a lot of it is him doing it. Listen, the bunch of the recordings the Russians have on Trump is him doing a bunch of illegal shit, okay? And he's scared that they're going to release what they have, okay? And the situation with Israel is completely the same. The Israelis also have a bunch of recordings about Trump. They have so much. They have a plethora. They have a huge repository of all the things Trump has done probably his entire life, okay? And if he doesn't bow down to them and do what he want, do what they want, right? All they gotta do is like, oh, you look at this tape we have here. That's all they gotta do. And he's like, okay, whatever you guys want. So it's like the intelligence agencies of the United States, right? And one of the Israelis has some stuff on you guys too. The intelligence agencies of the United States need to decide whether it is worth having such a compromised leader in your country where multiple countries have a bunch of dirt on you. Like I said, the Russians and Israeli have tapes about Donald Trump. They have a bunch of them. I'm not talking about 1 or 2 tapes. They have more than 10, right? They have more than 10 tapes of this man doing a bunch of stuff. So if you guys ever think Trump is ever gonna go against Israel, you have lost your goddamn mind. He is never gonna go against them because of the dirt they have on him. And don't get me started on Jared Kushner. Jared Kushner is a spy. Don't get me started. Listen, he's probably was put there so he can watch him more closely. Most of these Americans who are might have dual citizenship, most of them will die for Israel. Like, I believe that Ben Shapiro, I believe that what's her name, Vicky, and a bunch of people who work for the Biden admin too, Jared Kushner and all these other, they will die for Israel. They will. This is the difference between an Israeli person and an American. You Americans are so scared to die for your country. You are. Like, guys, you don't even want to sign up for recruitment. These Israelis are willing to die for their country. Ben Shapiro will die for Israel. That is a fact, whether you like it or not. Okay? So the government is full of Israeli spies. I looked into it. Ivanka is not even Jared's type. It's just a fact. But the assignment. And then you got the paid opposition, right? The Israeli the controlled opposition, like the gray zone, right? They're a controlled opposition. Is the gray zone with Matt and the other one, are they actually Israeli spies? They're Israeli spies. You guys need to stop believing everybody. Oh, they say something bad about Zionists. Well, maybe maybe they pretend to be anti-Zionist so they could get dirt on you, and intelligence and intel. Right? Oh, my stomach, sorry, I just ate something. So they get dirt on people. You guys, they meet up with what? They pretend to be anti-BB, right? Oh, they hate him. They're gonna reveal all his secrets. But the thing is, like, listen, if Israel's responsible for what happened to Charlie, and we all know, why are the people from the gray zone, why haven't they been assassinated? How did they, I know they said they all have this information because they've been doing research, but why haven't they been blacklisted? Why are they allowed to go wherever they are? They're all across the independent media. And then they publicly fight with Ben. It's so scripted, right? It's so easy. Right? And they know people love rage bait. They know Americans are stupid because some of them grew up in America. Right? Ben was a child prodigy or something, Jewish people take pride in education, right? Which is a good thing. Being smart and intelligent is very important. And the Hebrew spirituality, it's good to be well read. It's good to know what's going on in geography-wise. Those things are... If you guys don't know anything about I guess Jewish culture, I'm Jewish, is that education is prized above all else. I think some people say cleanliness is right next to godliness, and to a Jew, it's education is next to godliness. And so people like to make fun of, come for Jewish people because they say they have money. But maybe they have money because they're highly educated. Many of them get good professions, right? They become doctors, lawyers, because in their circles, this is also for some Asian people too, and some Africans, right? If you're an African in America, whether you're a Caribbean or Asian person, your parents usually want you guys to be doctors or lawyers, so it's not too weird, right? And so in, you know, Jewish circles, they want their children to be successful, and they want them to get good grades, and they spend good money to make sure they become highly educated, and they end up getting very good jobs, and so they end up getting really good salaries, and they, you know, they take care of their communities, they take care of each other, and so that money that they make stays in the community. Unlike the African American community, who once they get money, they leave the community, they don't invest any of it inside their own community. And then I see African Americans getting upset that there's been these anti-Semitic laws that have been passed in Congress, when from my point of view, maybe it's because you guys don't stick together like Jews do. Maybe you guys would get the same laws passed, like LeBron and like all these wealthy black celebrities don't use any of their wealth to pull the communities out of poverty. And there's a focus on joining the entertainment industry instead of encouraging black children to be doctors or nurses, right? Or scientists or lawyers is where you put the emphasis on, right? Like, that's what Asian people do when they come to America. So a lot of them end up in really good careers. Well, this is just the truth. A lot of black people want their kids to be entertainers. And there's no money in that. There's no money that most people don't become entertainers, okay? And the entertainment industry for black people is just really disgraceful. Like Sexy Red, and it's over-sexualized, and they're walking around with these weird hairstyles, and you know, and there's only certain roles you play, like this super ghetto, like Tyler Perry. But a lot of black people don't like that word, but it is what it is. It's low class, even if some of these black people might not even be low class, but it's so low class. Why can't some of you guys put your money together and make a TV show? I guess there was one, right? What was it? With that middle class or upper middle class black family? Why can't you guys do more shows or movies like that? Why is it always about gang violence or drugs? You know, most black people, I think, are middle class anyways. And it's like you guys encourage people to get into these horrible professions, right? And the culture is just really messed up. And, you know, all the Jewish lawyers got together and got that anti-Semitic, you know, law passed, and then the Asians did it too. The Asians got together with their Asian lawyers, and they went to Congress, and they got that shit passed too. And the black lawyers instead, all the black people in America, they're like, we don't need reparations. Father Kamala said, oh, they're not gonna get anything. The Jewish community would never do that. Listen, if the white people in America enslaved a bunch of Jewish people in the United States, they would have got their reparations already. They would have got it already. These black people who get into these professions, they want to bow down like the Candace Owens and these other weirdos, and just stop completely stop any type of progress at all. And then people who are living in poverty, people living in poverty or can't really get out of their situation, they want to point the finger at Jewish people and blame them. Well, maybe you should work for it. The community doesn't work for it. So anyways, I don't know. That's just my little rant here. I started off talking about these hospitals. I just want to know, what are you guys going to do by RFK Jr.? Listen, his irresponsibility, it's going to affect everybody. It's going to affect the rich people and the poor people. And the middle class people. Is going to affect the young and the old. The Asians, the whites, the Jews, the blacks, the Hispanics, the Native Americans, whoever. It's going to affect everybody. Everybody needs to get up together and just agree that he's not the right man for the job, and there's a public health problem. But no, you guys are not going to do anything. Right? I know. Let's see. Is the situation going to get better? Is it going to get worse? It's going to get worse. So I guess prepare to buy caskets.